Hello, and welcome to the Healthy is Happy podcast, the show that helps you get back to the basics of healthy and happy living. We're your hosts. I'm Nellie Ward.
And I'm Jennifer Maha. This podcast is the passion project of two friends who believe that healthy living is happy living. Always look for the good in others, never stop believing in the power of positivity, and think a little hard work goes a long way. To us, healthy living is simply a commitment to making daily choices that keep us on a healthy trajectory, both physically and mentally. We believe it's a lifelong journey, not a destination, and we like to be your co-host along this journey. Buckle up and stay hydrated. It's going to be an epic adventure.
Oh, hey there. Maha, wake up.
What? Oh,
It's podcast time.
Hey, everyone. Welcome to another super interesting episode of the Healthy is Happy podcast. Today, we're going to talk about natural ways to improve our sleep. Nellie selected this topic. She also just wrote a blog post about it. So if you're interested, you can check out the written version on our blog. But we're going to talk today about ways to improve sleep because I think most of us can agree we do not sleep nearly enough, and we definitely do not get enough quality sleep.
Yeah. So, we all know that, lack of sleep instantly affects us. But when you have lack of sleep over time, it actually can affect you, and it can cause chronic illness down the road. So the importance of sleep is huge. And getting enough sleep is vital for maintaining health. So
and good quality sleep, too.
If you're looking to start your road to health, starting with prioritizing your sleep is the great start.
So Nellie has prepared for us 15 points, 15 natural ways to get better sleep. So the first point we have is to make sleep a priority, which I will say most people, we live in a world where being busy is just like the more busy you are, the cooler you are, I think. And so
what's with that?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I did see a Facebook post this morning, though, where a mom friend of mine had asked, like, in general, other moms, our age, like, what time do you guys go to bed and wake up? And the general consensus was, like, go to bed at 11, 11:30, wake up at 5. So, like, very compressed time. And making sleep a priority is very hard for a lot of people because we don't think about it, right? And we just think I can get more out of the day. So do you have any suggestions for how to make sleep a priority?
Well, so especially if you're currently having sleep issues or you're wanting to optimize your sleep more, making it a priority is the first step. And while it's way easier said than done, I mean, the things that you can cut out of your day is like, put work up 1 hour earlier. That next episode of the Netflix show you're watching, you can wait until tomorrow. So just making sure getting on a schedule is really what is making it a priority. Like, okay, I go to bed at this time. Once you get into that routine, it's easier to follow it. So that's, on average, a person needs between 7 and 9 hours of sleep. That is just standard. Everybody's different.
Yeah.
So you need to know yourself, and you need to know what you need. I know I fall on the lower end of the spectrum. Some people fall on the higher end of the spectrum, but knowing what you need, what you need to feel your best, and then making sure that you are shutting things down an hour earlier. Like, don't work that extra hour. It'll be there. It'll be there tomorrow. Same with the Netflix show. Everything will be there tomorrow.
Same thing with your laundry. That will still be there tomorrow.
Yeah.
I think that's a good point. And the point about like stopping watching television or working or whatever it is that you're doing, I think preparing to go to bed is important. Like if you make sleep a priority, then you mentally and physically prepare to go to bed, which means when you actually go to bed, you get better sleep because your mind is more like relaxed and calm.
Yeah.
And you fall into like deep sleep sooner and you get more out of your sleep, as opposed to like, I know I used to have a very bad habit of like working really late at night and then going to bed and still thinking about work. And so like I would wake up in the middle of the night and not be able to go back to sleep because all those thoughts were sort of spinning in my head. And I was not sleeping enough, nor was I getting quality sleep.
Well, and that brings us to our next point.
Next point. Avoid technology before bed.
So the actual glow from a computer screen or a phone screen actually triggers you to stay up. So if an hour to 30 minutes before you go to bed, you should shut off electronic devices. We'll get to this later in the talk, but just not being tempted by the technology either. So maybe moving your phone, things like that, because that glow will kind of trigger your senses to wake you up more. So shutting that off, and just when you're in bed, either even if it's reading a book, or something, and getting one of those natural lights. No, they sell those book lights that are made of natural. It's a natural light. It's like a Himalayan light. That light is better for our senses to go to bed.
I actually have. So I like to read before I go to bed. So like in our family, we all leave our devices in the kitchen so that we're not tempted to stay on them late at night or to have them ding and wake you up because you forget to put it on silent. So I like to read when I go to bed, and I have a book light that has different light settings on it.
Yeah.
And so it has a natural light setting, and you can also like dim it, right? So like make it less and less as you sort of work your way into falling asleep. The trick is just don't find a book that's too good, because then maybe you just want to read the next chapter.
Yeah. Which brings us again to our
To
next
number
one.
3, which is turning down the lights.
So yeah, artificial light disturbs our body's natural sleep-wake cycles. So when it starts to get dark outside, our brains naturally start to trigger and make melatonin, which puts us to sleep. So exposure to artificial light, which is ceiling lights, kitchen lights, phone lights, computer lights, any of that stuff decreases our melatonin production, making it hard for our bodies to realize it's sleep time. So like closing the curtains at night, closing the blinds, closing the shades to omit any light, from the street lights or anything like that helps as you get ready to go to bed. And then dimming, cover, or remove any of the lights from your bedroom at night. So, I have a problem. Like I can't even have an alarm clock in my room because the light in my alarm clock bothers me when I go to bed. I ask Maha whenever we go travel, we've traveled and stayed in the same hotel room, and I like bring towels and cover up the lights and things because I cannot sleep with those lights.
From the alarm clock.
So just making sure to dim the lights, in the evening, just like we talked about before, making a habit of making sleep a priority. Make it a habit to go in, close the curtains, to dim your living room lights, to do all of that stuff at night.
And you can also, I think, like go from like you've got all your lights on, like maybe lay in bed, read a book, or just do some deep breathing with the lamp on, right? So you're kind of like lowering the light as you get ready to go to bed. I know some people use sleep masks as well as a way to block out light. So I invested in this is a shameless plug for a Nod Pod.
Nod Pod, they're the best.
You can buy them on Amazon. And I bought one as a gift for my husband, who decided it was the nerdiest thing he'd ever seen and he hated it. And I took it, and then I bought one for my kids, and they love them.
Me and my mom just gave my grandfather one for his birthday.
Yeah, it's like a weighted sleeping mask. So it's a little bit weighted, so it's kind of calming. And it has flaps that also go over your ears, so it kind of muffles sound.
It also has a tie, so if you want to tie it around your head, you can like stick it through.
And they come in different colors, and there's a cool side and a warm side. But helping with the light going off, especially like, if not everyone in the house wakes up at the same time and there's a lamp on and you need to go to sleep or wake up at different times, a sleeping mask is a great investment. I know it's helped me sleep a lot better than before I had it. Now I really can't sleep without it. It's like my little snuggie.
Yeah.
So do we have any more about the lights?
I think we can move on.
Okay. Number 4 is get sunlight during the day.
Yeah. So sunlight during the day is huge. Natural sunlight, it does a lot for our bodies. It's actually more important for wake up. So if you go outside in the morning and you just take a short walk, take your dog for a walk, take a walk with your spouse or your partner or your kids, or plug in a podcast and go for even just a 10-minute walk in the morning and get outside in the morning. That triggers you to start waking up, which actually puts us into better sleep routines.
Yeah. Also, I think it puts you in a better mood too.
It does. That is for sure.
The 5th suggestion we have here is to move, which I think piggybacks on what you just said, is getting some exercise, being physically active. How does that help you sleep better at night?
Yeah. So physical exercise is actually one of the most important things to get proper sleep. Pay attention to how sedentary you are during the day. Like how many of the hours of the day are we actually just sitting still? If you have access to it, just walk. Take the stairs at work. Walk around on breaks. Anything like that. If you think about it from a scientific point of view, objects at rest stay at rest. Objects in motion stay in motion. If we stay in motion and we keep moving at night, our bodies are more worn out and ready to go to bed.
Yeah.
If we stay at rest, it's harder to ever get into deep rest.
And you have like pent up energy.
Yeah,
because you haven't been doing much all day. So I think that you have better sleep when you move and you exercise.
Absolutely.
It facilitates just better rest cycles.
In the mornings, at lunch, maybe on a short lunch break, in the evenings before dinner, you can always, anything, even just walking takes a huge benefit to just, and I'm not saying like you have to go walk 45 minutes for exercise, just even if it's parking further at the grocery store, like doing small things that make you use it more energy throughout the day will help with sleep. Some great examples of exercise is, going for a run, lifting weights at the gym, going to the gym and using a cardio machine. Just making exercise, just like sleep a priority, making exercise a priority will help very much with your sleep. If you have a desk job and you're standing, you're sitting at your desk all day, maybe try one of those standing desks. Maybe try one of those little treadmill desks. Like anything that keeps your body moving, you're going to have an easier time going to sleep in the evenings.
Yeah, because you burn off some of the energy that your body's been storing up.
Yeah. I
during the
mean,
day.
I think about the days that I don't go for, like I run 6 days a week. If I think about that one day I don't go for a run, it's actually the day that I get the least amount of sleep. It's just because I didn't wear myself out like I usually do,
Yeah.
So wearing yourself out, chasing your kids, going to play outside with your kids if you have kids,
That's exhausting enough.
all that kind of stuff. It's just anything that you do that moves and makes your body move and gets active will help later in the day. Think about your phone battery. If you don't touch your phone all day, then you don't need to charge it at night, right?
Yeah.
If you don't use your energy battery all day during the day, you don't really need to charge it at night either. So it's going to be difficult to go to bed.
But you're still going to wake up tired.
Yep.
Because you're not rested. Our sixth suggestion is to establish sleeping nutrition. So tell us what that means. What is sleeping nutrition?
Yeah, so some people do better depending. This is a very personal thing, so it's something you're going to have to play with. But some people do well eating, a small dinner before bed. Others avoid any snacks before bed, especially those with like digestive issues. You don't want to go to sleep. You want to go to sleep 2 or 3 hours after you eat because you don't want to be waking up in the middle of the night.
Because your body's like processing food,
Yeah.
which sometimes keeps you awake or doesn't let you sleep well.
Yeah, and then there's some people who at night need a snack because maybe they have low blood sugar. So it's different types of things like that, but you shouldn't ever go to bed too full or too hungry. Both of those things will wake you up in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
So you need to work on finding your sweet spot, whether that's avoiding food before bed or having a small snack before bed.
Right. So maybe a good suggestion right there, because I think most people don't really think about sleep nutrition, right? We just
No.
get through our days and
Yeah.
like roll to the next one, is maybe cognitively start thinking about sleep nutrition.
Yep.
Like, did I sleep well last night? When did I eat before bed? Did I eat right before bed? Like, and just sort of like doing some recap
Yeah,
thinking,
just
like
establishing that pattern.
spend like 2 weeks and sort of evaluate your sleep. And then look at when and where and how and what you ate, and just to see if there are any trends that are happening there to help understand like if your sleep nutrition is relevant to your ability to sleep well.
Absolutely. And if you do struggle with sleep or you wake up a bunch of times in the middle of the night, for hydration, I would never say don't hydrate during the day. Hydrate. But 2 to 3 hours before bed, that's the time to cut down on hydration because it will wake you up having to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night.
Yeah. So that kind of leads directly to our next tip, which is limiting caffeine and alcohol. So I think a lot of people often think that if you drink alcohol, you will sleep better. It will calm you down, which is actually the adverse effect.
Yep.
Most people, if they really think about it, if you drink more than a moderate amount, then you actually have terrible sleep, right? And then obviously that goes without saying for caffeine. So what are some good healthy limits to abide by in those situations?
Yeah, so for caffeine, if you have trouble sleeping, I mean, I know my personal limit is I don't really. Well, I'm pretty late. I can drink coffee and go to bed just fine, honestly. And I have a sleep tracker, so I know that I'm falling into my deep sleep. But noon is the good cutoff time for caffeine. If you do have trouble sleeping. As for alcohol, caffeine doesn't really play as much of a role as alcohol in the sense of you're not going to fall into it. You can still fall into a deep sleep after you've had caffeine. The effects
Caffeine
of
just
alcohol,
affects different
it just
people
keeps you wake
differently.
up. It just
And
keeps you up.
everyone knows their level of like caffeine.
Absolutely, but limiting caffeine past noon if you have trouble going to bed is a good method. As far as alcohol goes, while it does help you fall asleep and people claim they think they sleep better, you consistently stay in a light sleep. So you never get in that deep sleep where your body is recovering, your muscles are recovering, all of that. You're not really ever truly at deep sleep rest. You're just kind of
And your body's also
resting.
working extra hard to sort of purify the alcohol that
process,
you put
yeah.
in that and like cleansing it and getting it out of your system.
Yeah.
So it's kind of counterproductive in some way.
So the worst thing we can do for our bodies is, I'm sure everyone knows, is binge drinking. Binge drinking is just, it causes the rest of the week. You're by the time the alcohol really gets completely out of your system, your sleep has struggled through
Days.
you know, and more people realize that they need naps during the day. A lot of that is because you're not falling into the deep sleep at night, and a lot of that could be stemming from alcohol. Granted, I'm not going to say give up drinking. Some things you can do is drink less, drink water between drinks, and then don't drink all the way up until bedtime. Once you realize, say the party's ending, or like, okay, this party ends at 11, which means I'm going to bed at midnight, maybe stop drinking around 10. Not having a good 2 hours of not taking in alcohol before you go to sleep
Will
is a good
significantly
measure.
improve.
Yeah.
I think your sleep.
Yeah, and eating something after consuming alcohol, even if it's just a small snack. so that there's something else on top of your stomach that makes your
Helps
body
absorb it.
process. Yeah.
That's a great tip. Number 8 on our natural ways to better improve your sleep is better stress management. So I think we all understand that we can all do better with that.
Oh, absolutely.
And like I mentioned earlier, like just I know when I go to bed like stressed or thinking about something, I wake up stressed, still thinking about those things. It's like my brain like went black and then it came back on at full power. There was no powering down and powering back up. So do you have any tips for like how one could de-stress before you go to bed? Because you can't ignore stress. You can't get out of your life, but you can handle it much better.
Yeah. And when we have these podcasts, we are not like the experts at doing all of these things.
No, we're just sharing stories from a life well lived.
Oh yeah. And not even that, we're just sharing tips. We could both practice these tips better, but these are things that we know would improve other people's sleep. So I'm just going to clarify that.
Tips for all of
us.
But
because I know I could get better at stress management for sure. But one of the things is going to bed with anxiety and stress. Like if you have an argument with your spouse, you have work stuff that's, leaning on your mind. It's very important to, before bed, try to distract yourself from those stressors. Either if it's, trying not to go to bed angry. So if you need to talk something out with somebody, I know I do that. Most of my friends know that if I ever did anything to make you upset, I call you at night and I apologize 800 times.
Even if you didn't, if Nellie thinks you might be upset, she's going to call you.
Yes, because I cannot go to bed thinking that someone is mad at me. But some things to do is to distract yourself from those stressors are good tips for before going to bed. So whether that's reading a paperback book that's, just an easy, fun read. So something that you're enjoying that distracts you. So it's distracting you from those stresses. Implementing deep breathing, yoga, and meditation before bed.
Yep.
So taking, 10 to 15 minutes before bed to do some yoga, do some meditation, and do some deep breathing. All of those are things. The stressors aren't going to go away before you go to sleep, but doing these small things helps your mind to put it to the bed, to put that to bed as well.
Well, I would like to kind of add on to that. I think like meditation and deep breathing helps just in general, like because I have different levels of stress depending on what's going on. Sometimes it's my stress, and sometimes like your kid's not doing good math and you're stressed out about that, and that's something that's completely out of your control, right? So it's how do you deal with it? And I've learned that like deep breathing and sort of like just coming to a place of like calm about all these things has helped tremendously with my own ability to handle stress and with my ability to sleep better at night.
Yeah.
And another thing that I had to do back a few years ago when we had very, very stressful jobs, and I was finding myself not sleeping very well and working too late, is before I would go to bed, I would actually do yoga. I would do like 20 minutes of either yoga or meditation, either on my own or through like an app or a video or something. I slept so much better because number one, when you do like yoga or meditation, you really have to focus on your breathing. And when you're focusing on your breathing, you can't really think about anything else, right? Because if you're doing it well, you're listening to yourself breathe. And stretching helps a lot because it circulates your blood really, really well. Yeah. And a lot of people, whether you move a lot or you don't move a lot, in either of those categories, you tend to get really tight and your circulation is hindered. So if you just do literally 5 minutes of stretching before bed, just some basic like hamstring stretches, side bends, things like that, you're going to loosen up your muscles, you're going to improve your circulation, and you are going to sleep so much better. I know there are nights when I wake up and my legs are like tight, and I'll just wake up in the middle of the night and spend 5 minutes stretching, and then I sleep like a baby for the rest of the night. So trying to implement that earlier is a much better idea. So you're like a case
study. It works.
It absolutely works. And I know that it sounds like if you Google how to sleep better, it's like do yoga before bed. But it truly works. And then there are nights when I don't want to do yoga. So I will lay in my bed with my sleep mask on and have a sound machine. And then I will just make myself for 5 minutes do nothing but just count my breaths, like 10 breaths in, 10 breaths out. And by the time you get to 5 minutes, like you're probably already asleep.
Yeah, I actually put in the article that we did about sleep under this category. I put a link to some essential oils because if you diffuse essential oils at night and practice deep breathing and just breathe while those are diffusing, it
really
just
relaxes
helps.
you.
Yeah,
like lavender is really good for that.
Yeah.
I used to have like a little roller with lavender, and I would roll it on my wrist. Yeah. And on my neck before I went to bed. Tracy Scott taught me that. Our good Ironman friend, Tracy Scott. Before our first Ironman, she bought some at Whole Foods, and she came to my hotel room, and she's like, rubbed it all over me. I was like, what are you doing? She's like, it'll help you sleep. She was right. All right. So number 9 here is we have set the right temperature. This is key.
Yeah. So most people, the best temperature to sleep in is between 65 and 70 degrees.
Perfect.
Okay. So that is like scientifically proven.
Yep.
So one of the keys about, we talked about making sleep a priority and like starting to limit things before bedtime to get your body ready is setting your thermostat to go to bed 2 hours before bedtime.
Yep.
So turn it down 2 hours before bed. Cold temperatures and that wanting to get under the covers kind of feel actually makes you tired, which has always struck me because like I asked a college professor one time why they kept the classroom so cold. And they were like, because it keeps people awake. And I was like, I don't know. That absolutely puts me to sleep. I'm like, if I'm cold, I'm going to bed.
I remember they used to tell us that in high school. I was like, I don't know if that's
because all I want to do is get in a blanket and go to bed.
I'm so cold, I can't focus on
like,
whatever.
I'm so miserable. I'm just going to go to sleep right now.
I just want to complain right now.
But so setting the thermostat 2 hours before bed and getting your house ready for bedtime, you'll have an easier time going to bed instead of like sitting there waiting until it gets cool.
Yeah, and I know this, so I think that's really important because I have this very bad habit of that's like the last thing I do before I go to bed is I'm the last one to go to bed, so I set the thermostat. But and sometimes I do it earlier though because when the kids go to bed, they're upstairs, so it's warmer. And without fail, Ridge always yells, "Mom, turn down the air conditioning," because I forget. But I also forget that like he's going to bed and it's also a little bit warmer upstairs.
Yeah.
So like trying to remember to do that sooner to get the temperature down so that everyone falls asleep faster is smart because once you start tossing and turning, then your own body temperature goes up and then you're moving again.
Yeah.
And it's going to be much harder to settle back down again.
Exactly.
So that's a really a good tip is like 2 hours before bed, get the thermostat going to like its end goal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Number 10, moving on, is going to be comfortable bedding, right?
Yes.
That kind of goes without saying, but we all have to figure out like what's comfortable to us.
If you don't like your bed,
get a new one.
Get a new comfortable, not even mattress, just get a new bedding. Like
new sheets, get new
pillows.
pillows.
If you don't like being hot and you have too much on, like, okay, then get a new bedding. If you share a bed with a spouse, then you know what, maybe you make your bed at night, but he has the extra cover or she has the extra cover or whatever. But getting comfortable bedding and making that is key to
and
not waking
pillows.
up in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it doesn't even, I'm finding out, like some people sleep better with 2 pillows. Some people sleep better with 1. Just try it out.
Yeah.
See what works best for you.
Some people sleep with a menagerie of stuffed animals.
Yeah. And if you need a new mattress, go get a new mattress. Go test them out. Don't just buy something off the internet. Go to a mattress store.
Yeah. And find out what works for you.
Yep.
Because that where you're sleeping is what you're sleeping on is actually really important as well.
Yep.
And again, everyone's different. So just because someone says this is the best bed or this is the best comforter, that's the best pillow, that is not scientifically proven because everyone's body responds and reacts differently.
Yeah.
That's a great tip. I definitely need new pillows at our house. We need new pillows. We're fighting over the few good, comfortable pillows we have left. So number 11, we have relaxing bedroom environment.
Yeah. So your bedroom it should not function as an office. It should not function as a place that you do. I mean, some people do. But if you have trouble sleeping, the places that remind you of stress. So if your office is your bedroom, well,
maybe just move your laptop
and move it to the kitchen because at night, you go in there and you think about work because you've been working in there.
Yeah.
I know I used to do my homework as a kid in my room, and I would go to bed at night. I would go to bed and all because I had my desk in my bedroom. We moved that when I was probably in high school, and it made me. Well, I would get in bed and I wouldn't worry about what was on my desk. I would go to sleep.
Because your bedroom is a place for relaxation.
Yeah, your bedroom is a place to go to sleep. So making it a
point.
relaxing place, and just even the color schemes, just picking out colors that it doesn't have to be relaxing colors that Pinterest says, like colors that relax you.
Right.
If you feel relaxed around the ocean, maybe blue is a color that is relaxing for your bedroom. I have a neutral bedroom, and it's very much like. It's different than the rest of my house. It's not loud and vibrant. It's a cool, like, colored room so that when I go in there, I'm like, okay, I'm relaxed. I'm going to go to bed.
I think also having a tidy room.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
I know that sounds kind of ridiculous because our house is one of those houses where people say it's well lived in, which means it's kind of always chaotic. There's things everywhere.
You
I know
have 2 boys.
personally, yeah. But I know personally, like when my room is clean, like the clothes are folded and they're put away, and there's not just a bunch of like random stuff everywhere, which that happens a lot. But the days that it is more organized, like somehow like just visually not seeing chaos is I sleep better and I feel mentally more relaxed.
Well, and I put that one on here because I think that people don't even realize that distractions in the room or like things like that
it's like
affect
it's
your
subconscious.
sleep.
Like it's in your
It's completely
subconscious. Because like when I see a bunch of laundry that needs to be folded that maybe I drug into my room during the day for whatever reason, that's the last thing I see before I go to bed. So I'm thinking like, oh, I got to fold that laundry, right?
Yeah.
So that becomes a to-do as opposed to like out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah.
I'm resting now.
So like the stuff that's daily tasks and things should not be done in the bedroom. Like laundry.
Or just move them out of the bedroom when it's time to go to bed.
Or that.
Out of sight, out of
Out
mind.
of sight, out of mind.
Move it back into the living room where it was earlier.
If you have the ability to make your bedroom just like a place that is for the bed and the dresser drawers, great. If not, move it out when it's time to go to bed.
So that you have more, I think, just mental peace of mind.
Absolutely.
So our 12th tip here is consistent wake up and go to bed time.
Yes.
I think a lot of people have that like in a work school setting, right?
Yep.
But then summer times and other times it gets chaotic and then your body gets all out of rhythm. And so like, I know that's really hard to, like if you're on Christmas break, right? It's kind of, everybody does whatever, but when it's time to go back to school and work,
it's hard to get back into the
switch
routine.
yourself back onto, because your body has like automatic timers.
Yeah, and your life will ebb and flow, and your time routines will always change.
But getting into some sort of a routine, I know is helpful. And I think, I had kids, that was like a major thing. It's like, you want to have kids go to bed at the same time, wake up at the same time. And I always assumed we would all grow out of that. But I find that like, if we don't, then we stay up too late. We're not. So like we still like
adults need it too.
At 8:30, it's like everyone had better be on their way to bed, hopefully asleep by 9, which includes the adults in the house, just because like otherwise the temptation to continue, like you're saying, looking at technology, watching something, doing all these other distractions.
Yeah.
And then pretty soon you've cut 2 hours out of your sleep time.
Yeah. So actually one of the reasons I put this up there is, most people fall into a pretty good routine during the week. I mean, because we have to wake up at the same time every day to make it to work and to make it to school.
Yeah.
So our bodies, when we wake up at a certain time every day, our bodies kind of prompt us to go to bed when we normally go to bed.
Yeah.
Our bodies get ready. At night, if I go to bed at 9:30 every day, because I'm waking up at 5:30, well, at 9:30, your body's kind of like, okay, hey, it's time to go to bed.
Your body likes a routine.
It gets into a routine. One of the biggest things you can do to stay consistent with your wake up and bedtimes is to not sleep in on the weekends, which sounds daunting and terrible. But sleeping in on the weekends actually gets you out of that cycle, because that 5 days isn't enough time to really set a routine. So if we can, that doesn't mean you have to go to bed at 9:30 on the weekends. But the key is waking up at that same time, because if you wake up at that same time, your body then tells you when it's time to go to bed.
Yeah, it resets the clock.
And that is in an ideal, perfect world. That's not ever going to happen, and all of us enjoy a good sleeping in time.
No, but that makes sense, because if you wake up late, then you want to go to bed later, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So like it takes whatever your biological sleep clock is, and it moves it back 2 to 3 hours. And then on Sunday night, you got to set it back, which is really hard. This is why Monday mornings.
That's why Monday mornings are so hard for people.
Just the roughest.
And this is a huge thing, especially for people right now who are currently, really struggling with sleep issues. Waking up, not sleeping in the weekends, just setting up an alarm and just moving to the couch and turning on the TV. Just waking up is going to help so much down the road. I know we all love that. Oh, it's Saturday, I don't have to set an alarm clock. Yeah. Just do it. I promise it's going to pay off in the long run if you struggle with sleep currently.
And you'll get likely better sleep, better quality sleep.
Absolutely.
Okay, so our 13th suggestion here, our tip, is cutting out the noise.
Yeah, so cutting out the noise. This is mainly for people who live in places that might have, Maha lives where there's lots of crickets and you can hear all
the cricket noise is so loud because there is no other noise. Yeah. Which is a weird thing, but like it took a lot of getting used to.
Yeah. I live near Perkins Road, which we can hear from our house at night.
Yeah.
Some people live, near the interstate. So anything where if you have outside noise coming into your house, get a sound machine or use a ceiling fan, and just turn those on at night. Cut out the outside traffic world noise. Yeah. And, put your phone on, silent at night, or do not disturb, because do not disturb, your phone has to ring twice before it goes off. So things like that, just cutting out any type of outside noise and going to sleep with a sound machine or a ceiling fan is huge,
because noises will interrupt your sleep. Absolutely. Right? Like if it's not a consistent noise, like a horn, white noise or something like that. I know we invested in sound machines in our house years ago, and like even the kids they don't like sleeping away from home because they love their sound machine.
I know, I'm the same way.
It's just that repetitive.
I have a portable one I take with me.
Yeah, we do too. And it has 6 settings on it, so you can listen to different sounds depending on which one you like best. But it definitely helps everyone calm down and fall asleep, and erases other background noise.
Absolutely.
Because we don't all go to sleep at the same time. So there's a lot of if I'm still doing something downstairs, the kids upstairs can't hear me and things like that.
Yep.
And we used to listen to those when we would travel for work, when we had to stay in a hotel room, and there was noises you could not control. Remember, we used to bring a sound machine.
Yeah. Very true.
Number 14, our tip here is prioritizing safety.
Yeah. So studies show that people who subconsciously feel unsafe at night don't fall into that deep sleep. So if you live in a small town where you don't need to lock the doors, just lock the door. If you have been playing around with the idea of getting an alarm system, get an alarm system. If it puts your mind at peace where you feel safer, if you feel safer for your family or anything like that, take those measures because it is disrupting your sleep subconsciously. So just prioritizing that, making sure the doors are locked, making sure all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Going in back and rechecking, making sure the oven, the stoves, all of that's turned off.
Yeah.
I know I do that every night.
And this is kind of like a nighttime routine. I'm going to bed. I'm making sure everything is locked, shut up.
Yeah. So take those few steps just to ensure, even if you think you're not worried about it, like if it's something you worry about during the day, but you think before bed you're not worried about it, subconsciously it's there. So just establish some of those little routines that make you feel better about going to bed at night.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. And then doing it in a, like you said, like a routine.
Yeah.
Because I know at our house, it's like we go outside and make sure everything's put up, all the garage doors are closed, and then all the doors are locked, all the lights are off, and then it's time to go to bed.
Yeah.
But it's like a process because there's doors everywhere. People are always coming in and out.
Oh my gosh, and there's nothing worse than waking up in the middle of the night being like, did I turn off the oven?
Or waking up in the middle of the night or in the morning and realizing we left the garage open all night.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's one of those things, but when you becomes a routine and my husband and I will ask ourselves, did you lock it all up? Right. And that's kind of meaning one of us did it. And we know what's on that checklist.
Yep.
And that makes us sleep a lot better. All right. Moving on to our 15th topic we've already covered is technology.
Yeah. So technology, we talked about that, but removing technology from the bedroom is really what I wanted to touch on this point. So if you sleep with your phone next to your bedside table and all that, I mean, people say, the phone lights and all that are going to cause cancer. All of that aside, putting your phone in a different room it makes you not tempted when you wake up in the middle of the night to check it, when you
wake up in the morning
in the morning to check it. Mm-hmm. So I know what I do, and I actually used to charge mine in the kitchen, but my sister gave me this tip, and I was like, oh, wow, that's a very good point. If someone were to break into my house, I wouldn't have my phone. So I now charge my phone in the bathroom at night. So it's in the bathroom because the first place I would go was towards my closet bathroom area. So my phone is now in the bathroom, but removing that piece of technology at night because just talking to friends and stuff. I know so many people wake up at 3 a.m. and can't go back to bed, but then they scroll on their phone and now they have this fake light that has triggered them to wake up. No, put that away. You'll go back to bed.
Yeah.
Just not having it, not having the temptation to scroll and check Instagram before you go to bed.
Because it never ends.
It never ends.
I remember when Instagram and Facebook and Pinterest and all these things came out, and it was this was a long time ago. But the idea that you never got to the end of the page,
no, you just keep going,
this endless scrolling was whoa, and then you're oh wait, I know why they're doing that because we'll never stop doing it.
Yeah.
I've tried to get to the end of Pinterest once or twice, scrolling really fast. It doesn't happen.
No, I don't think it. Yeah, no.
I was I'm going to be the person.
I think it restarts it from the top.
End of Pinterest. I ran out of energy on that one.
Yeah. So removing technology, that is the last 15th tip. Implement all of these, implement some of these. I can guarantee you.
Or just
they
try
will
a few
help
of them,
you.
right?
Yeah.
And I think the easiest thing to do, and we've talked a lot in earlier podcasts about nutrition, right? And we kind of always started with keeping a nutrition just calendar of what you've been eating for 2 weeks to assess it. Doing the same thing for sleep, I think would be great. Is each day keep a sleep log. What time did you go to bed? What time did you wake up?
Yeah.
If you remember, how many times did you wake up in the middle of the night? And then rate your sleep on a scale of 1 to 5, right? I got a 10. It was a 7. And do that for a week and then go back and sort of look at these tips. Mm-hmm. Am I sleeping on a schedule? Did I eat too late? Did I drink too much alcohol? Did I eat too much sweets? What am I doing that's either causing me to sleep really well or not causing me to sleep well? And then from there you can adjust your patterns.
Yeah, and a key point to that too is knowing how you felt the day after, because some people, I know for me, if I sleep more than 9 hours, I'm more tired.
Yep, I'm the same way.
I was if I was up 7.
I'm a 6 hour a night kind of person.
Yeah.
And during COVID, I was getting 9 and 10 hours of sleep, and I was just not functioning.
More tired. So,
and that's what it was.
When you start to realize these things about yourself, it subconsciously makes it easier to just get up because you're okay, well, I know if I stay in bed 2 hours longer, I'm actually going to be more exhausted all day.
So I've always known that between 6 and 7 hours is my magic number of sleep. Anything under 5, I can handle.
Yeah, but you're not getting enough at 5.
No, I'm not I'm really kind of angry when I wake up.
Yeah, you need about
But
6 and a half to
if I
7.
am working and I do have, because there are nights where you have lots of things you just have to get done.
Mm-hmm.
I'll like count, like if I go to bed at this time, how many hours? Okay, I can work for 30
Mm-hmm.
more minutes before I have to shut this down, because like I don't want to get into a point where I am like getting like 5 hours of sleep, because that's just, everyone's losing at that point.
Yeah, when we talked about this on another podcast, it's like oh well, I slept 5 hours today, but I'll sleep 10 tonight.
You're not.
Or I'll take a nap.
It's not gonna happen.
There's no such thing as catch up
No,
on sleep.
never happens. Never
You
happens.
have to be in that deep sleep in that routine.
Yeah.
There is no such thing as sleep catch up.
Well, and there's also a lot of technology. Like anyone that has a smartwatch, which lots of people do these days, they have Apple Watches, you have Garmin watches, and
Aura
stuff like
rings. People have Aura rings
Yeah.
that measure sleep.
and they it will tell you that. So like my watch does that. I don't often sleep with it on, but when I do, I will go back and look at the sleep data to see like how well I slept, how long I was in deep sleep and stuff like that, to see if adjustments need to be made. So like there's also lots of ways to use technology to check on your sleeping and see how you're doing and see if you
I
need to
know
make some
technology is
adjustments.
amazing. It's crazy.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, thanks for tuning in.
We have a joke.
Oh my gosh, a joke. I thought we started with a joke.
I think I have
Wake-up joke?
2 today
Oh, geez. Okay, everybody, buckle up. 2 jokes from Nellie, and I'm not going to tell the punchline this time.
because you don't know them, do you?
I don't know what the joke is. So
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if I know the punchline.
All right, my first one is, why do keyboards never sleep?
I do not know.
They have 2 shifts.
I don't.
Like
even
they get
work.
work 2 shifts.
No, I got nothing.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
I don't know enough about keyboards.
What about the next
Maybe
one?
that's a keyboard joke.
Yeah.
Don't. Shh. Wait, what does that mean?
Like they're working 2 shifts. They have 2 shifts. Like the
Oh,
keyboard has
I'm
2
thinking of a
shifts.
keyboard. I don't know why. I'm thinking of a musical keyboard.
No, keyboard.
But like a typing keyboard, like a regular keyboard. Yeah. Sorry, everybody. I was like, what do you know about keyboards? You play the keyboard?
Oh God.
Maybe I did not get enough sleep last
2
night,
shifts.
everybody.
You get
Yeah,
it,
no, I
like-
get it now.
yeah, okay.
But I was like, where's there a shift on a keyboard? But I'm thinking like an electrical piano.
Yeah.
Why? I don't know.
Okay, well, that was interesting. Skadoosh pa. Okay, well then my next one will be a good one. Where do books sleep? Under the covers.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, I like that one. Yeah, under the covers. I like that. Okay. Well, everyone, thank you for tuning in to another great episode of the Healthy is Happy
You can
podcast
go back to bed now.
and Nellie's joke sessions. Sorry, I botched that first one.
All
Stay
right.
tuned for more great episodes.
On the count of 3, go to sleep.
Okay.
1, 2, 3. Thanks for joining us for this episode of the Healthy is Happy podcast. You can follow us on Facebook at Basic Living BR, Instagram for all things healthy and happy living at Basic Living BR, and for more nutrition focused content, follow us on Instagram at the_basic_eats.